So you want to be on council? That's great! We want to help you understand what you may be getting into, and if this is the right fit for you. In this orientation, we will just be scratching the surface, but we have put together a few things to help you understand what it takes to run a town like Strathmore, and what a role on council entails. We also want to help you improve your ability to discuss real issues so you can run a successful campaign. So, why should you run for office? Municipal government is the most accessible level of government, and it is relatively easy to get involved with little previous experience. We need good people to govern the town, especially those with a deep desire to serve the community. Being a member of Strathmore Council can be an exciting and rewarding experience for both you and the community, and you can leave a lasting impact in Strathmore for years to come. Just as there are many reasons to run for office, there are also many reasons not to run. These include the following: self-interest. Elected officials are representatives of the community and need to be able to reflect on issues from all sides. A focus on short-term priorities, or a focus on a single issue. A 4-year commitment is a long time, and town council is elected to provide governance on all issues that affect our residents. Conflict of interest. Business or professional interests that are similar to those of the town can create a financial conflict of interest called pecuniary interest. Pecuniary interest, or personal financial interest in an issue, prohibits you from participating in discussions with council and staff and voting on that matter. You will not only need to recuse yourself for your own matters, but also those related to your business and direct family members. In cases where there is a conflict of interest, but it is not pecuniary interest, council members are still required to vote on those matters. You may be hesitant to run for council, as there is a lot to learn as a new councillor, but don't worry, administration is there to help you. Municipalities are required to offer orientation training within 90 days to elected officials, and the Council Code of Conduct bylaw indicates that it is mandatory for all councillors to attend. This training covers the role of municipalities in Alberta, municipal organization and functions, key municipal plans, policies and projects, roles and responsibilities of council and councillors, the municipality's Code of Conduct, roles and responsibility of the Chief Administrative Officer and staff, budgeting and financial administration, as well as public participation. Most organizations chart a future course to guide their current activities. Local governments call these strategic plans. A council should establish these priorities early in a term and then review them every year. You often hear politicians thanking their families for support, with good reason. A substantial portion of every week will be devoted to council activities. If not carefully managed, potential impacts on personal life, business, and other employment can occur. Time commitments include council meetings, internal and external committees, board appointments, public appearances, and guest requests. Candidates should also consider the time needed for meeting preparation and reading agendas, following up with staff and public, and discussions with other elected officials. Mayor and council have a rigorous meeting schedule. Regular council meetings are where council conduct business and action items through motions. Regular council meetings are held at 7 p.m. on the first and third Wednesday of each month. Committee of the Whole meetings occur at 9 a.m. on the second Wednesday of each month, and are meetings where council can deliberate and discuss matters prior to bringing forward motions in regular council meetings. During organizational meetings each year, councillors are also assigned to sit on various council committees. In addition to council committees, there are additional regional committees that council may be assigned to. These committees meet at various times throughout the month. The rate of pay for mayor and council is set by council prior to each election. Compensation can be a difficult and controversial subject, but a loss of income should not preclude anyone from participating in local government. A councillor can expect to spend a lot of time on municipal business, and the community is best served by a body representing the broadest range of interests and abilities. It is important to recognize that when you are elected, you become a public official, and there may be an impact on your personal life. The press and public are always watching you and what you do. Remember that you are a counselor 24/7 and nothing is ever off the record. Expect to be spoken to and even confronted at the grocery store, the movies, at your child's school, or even while having a relaxing dinner out. You may also need to train your family on how to respond to irate phone calls. Municipalities are likely to be way more complex than anything newcomers have ever experienced before. Corporate responsibilities cover a diversity of issues, including public utilities, construction, policing, public safety, fixing potholes, catching dogs, water supply, and community health, to name a few. Intergovernmental relations with local, regional, First Nations, provincial, and even federal governments are built and maintained. Everything is heavily regulated by provincial statutes, regulations, local bylaws, policies, and even federal and common law. In the midst of all this, Council is expected to provide leadership and governance. Leadership in terms of the way forward, and governance in terms of making the best decision for the community today and for the future. Effecting change can take some time. You may be implementing changes started by previous councils. Perversely, there will also be urgent items that require swift action. Some matters can quickly become overwhelming due to demands, pressures, or their sensitive natures. It can be hard as a counselor to take a holiday, as council business never rests. Council meetings are the place where all council decisions are made and individuals have the ability to effect change. All elected officials present at meetings vote on each item and can only abstain from a vote where there is pecuniary interest. Everyone on council, including the mayor, has an equal vote. The council procedure bylaw and other legislative requirements are followed closely to ensure that all council members have an equal opportunity to speak on an issue. The mayor, or his delegate, chairs council meetings to help maintain order. Most decisions are made by a simple majority, some by 2/3 vote, and others need to be unanimous, depending on the item. Compromise is an essential core element of all politics, and once a decision is made by council, it is the corporate responsibility of all members to support that decision. Local governments are creatures of the province and have vastly different powers and abilities. Following an election, people are eager to get on with making change. Newcomers may become frustrated after learning there are things they can't do due to what some may call a legislative straitjacket. Rules are set to protect council, the organization, and the community. Existing policies, contractual obligations, laws, and other realities exist and can't be ignored. It is recommended that you run a clean campaign, as you will have to live and work with the other successful candidates for 4 long years. Once elected, you are now part of a system with you, fellow councillors, and staff, and you are all on the same team. The community elects the entire council to work together for positive outcomes. Remember, when decisions are made, it becomes a corporate responsibility of all to support. Healthy debate is positive, but stick to the issues and avoid personalities. Generally, people associate with those who are similar to themselves. As a politician, the world opens up. Everyone in the community may have a differing opinion to the issues. They have just as much right as anyone else to express theirs. Ultimately, council must weigh all of the facts and come up with a decision that best serves the community. Section 153 of the MGA states that you are to consider the welfare and interests of the municipality as a whole and to bring council's attention to anything that would promote the welfare and interests of the community. It is unrealistic for you or for the public to expect you to know everything about every issue. Don't believe everything that you read in the papers or hear in a coffee shop. Hardship stories from the public often have another side. You can get more information from staff before coming to a conclusion. When you don't get your facts straight, you risk being discredited and discounted by the rest of council. In most cases, a municipality indemnifies councillors when they act in good faith. but some actions can attract personal liability, and there is no such thing as legislative immunity at the local level. This is the reason that many recommendations come forward with legal advice. Freedom of information and protection of privacy are both critical in conducting municipal business. Council must conduct all meetings in public to ensure that public bodies are open and accountable to the public by providing the right of access to records. There are a few items that can be discussed behind closed doors to protect the privacy of individuals by controlling the manner in which public bodies collect, use, and disclose personal information. In camera is Latin for in chambers, and is the term used when council meets behind closed doors. There are very specific rules laid out for what can and cannot be discussed in camera. An issue may only be discussed in camera if it is an exemption to disclosure allowed for under the provisions of the FOIP Act. These are generally issues dealing with land, labor, and law. Remember, what's said in camera is confidential and must not be discussed outside of that meeting. The structure of the organization is very important to understand. Council and administration work together to achieve stated priorities. An elected official's role is to provide governance and leadership. Council has only one employee, the Chief Administrative Officer, often referred to as the CAO. The Chief Administrative Officer is the manager and supervisor of the organization's staff and is responsible for implementing Council's priorities and direction. Every year, Council works with administration to pass a budget for the following year. Everything costs money, and elected officials are a steward over municipal spending. Some items considered when budgeting are the 3-year financial plan adopted by resolution, commitments already in place, wage increases, fixed operating costs, capital projects, and discretionary funds available. Aspiring election candidates first need to confirm their eligibility to run for office. They then need to complete Form 4, the Candidate Nomination and Acceptance Form, Form 5, the Candidate Financial Information Form, and the Disclosure Form. To be eligible to run for office, the elector must be at least 18 years old, be a Canadian citizen, have resided in Strathmore for the 6 consecutive months immediately preceding nomination day, and have their primary place of residence be Strathmore. There may be other reasons why you are ineligible to run as a candidate. Please refer to the Local Authorities Election Act for more information. In order for your nomination papers to be accepted, all candidates must have the signature of a minimum of 5 eligible electors. This means they must be 18 years of age or older, a Canadian citizen, be a resident of Alberta, and reside within the voting boundary of the town of Strathmore. Only original handwritten signatures can be accepted. Electronic or photocopied signatures are not valid. Please ensure that the candidate does not sign this form until they are in front of a Commissioner of Oaths or the returning officer. All candidates are required to submit Form 5, a disclosure of your candidate financial information. Please ensure you do not use your personal banking information. The Candidate Information Disclosure Form is your contact information. Information shared on this form will be accessible to the public. Nominations are accepted from January 1st through noon on September 20th, 2021. To file, bring your completed forms and the nomination deposit of $250 to the town office. Deposits will be returned to the candidate if they are declared elected, if they obtain the minimum number of votes, or if the candidate withdraws as a candidate within 24 hours of the close of the nomination period. Election signs may be erected up to 60 days prior to Election Day and must be removed within 3 days of Election Day. Election signs cannot exceed 1.5 square meters, be illuminated, be attached to trees, or display the town logo. The town may remove unlawful election signs without notice, and removed signs will be stored at the town's maintenance facility. For more information on election signs and where they can be placed, please see the election sign bylaw. Please visit our website, strathmore.ca/2021 election, for more information on the election, candidate forms, and other candidate resources. The Government of Alberta website is also a great place to check for more resources. You might want to look up the Municipal Government Act, as this act gives municipalities their power and authority, or take a look at the Municipal Affairs website for more general information on local governments. Thank you for your time and your interest in becoming an elected official. If you have any additional questions, do not hesitate to contact elections@strathmore.ca.